It was 2:47 a.m. when the clock stopped. The minute hand froze mid-tick. The lights flickered once, and then silence. By morning, the small town of Ashgrove, Maine, would wake to find one man dead, one woman missing, and a clock that hadn't moved since the moment everything went wrong. But that clock, that single, ordinary object, would become the key to unraveling a story of betrayal, obsession, and a carefully planned cover-up that fooled police for nearly a decade. Stay with me, because by the end of this story, you'll see how one broken clock revealed the truth behind a perfect crime. February 12th, 2014. The snow had been falling for hours, blanketing Ashgrove in near silence. At 2:47 a.m., a 911 call came from a farmhouse on Old Mill Road. The caller's voice was trembling. "He's not breathing. I think he's dead." The caller was Martha Hale, a 38-year-old art teacher. The victim, her husband, Tom Hale, a respected contractor and volunteer firefighter. When first responders arrived, the scene looked straightforward. Tom had apparently fallen down the stairs. A pool of blood spread beneath his head. His watch had stopped at 2:47 a.m., matching the broken wall clock in the hallway, both frozen in time. But detectives would soon realize nothing about that night made sense. Detective Elliot Crane arrived before dawn. He'd worked dozens of domestic cases, but something about this one bothered him. First, the blood spatter. It didn't match a simple fall. The angle was wrong, and there were streaks on the wall that suggested Tom had been struck before the fall. Then there was the clock. A heavy, antique timepiece mounted near the stairs. Glass cracked, second hand bent, stopped dead at 2:47. Martha claimed it had fallen from the wall during the struggle to call 911, but the screws were still firmly in place. And when Crane checked the clock's mechanism, he found something odd. It had been deliberately jammed with a piece of thin metal, something like a paperclip. Why would anyone sabotage a clock? On the surface, Tom and Martha seemed like the perfect couple. High school sweethearts, married 15 years, no children, but a close-knit community presence. But neighbors quietly told a different story. They said Tom had become distant, controlling, even paranoid. He'd often accused Martha of lying about her late nights at the art studio. And just 2 weeks before his death, Tom was overheard arguing with someone on the phone. "You tell her it's over. I'm not being made a fool of." Investigators soon discovered Tom had hired a private investigator to follow his wife. And that's when a third name entered the story. Daniel Royce, a 42-year-old painter who'd been working with Martha at the community center. He disappeared the same week Tom died. Detectives searched Daniel's small apartment. Inside, they found a packed duffel bag, his passport, and a half-finished canvas of a winter forest signed and dated February 11th, 2014. No sign of foul play, but something didn't add up. His car was still parked outside the Hale residence. When questioned, Martha said Daniel had come by earlier that night to drop off supplies. She insisted he left before Tom got home. But when police tested Tom's fingernails, they found traces of oil paint, the same brand Daniel used. Now, it wasn't just a fall. It was looking like a fight and possibly a murder. Martha Hale was arrested and charged with second-degree murder. The prosecution argued she and Daniel were having an affair, and when Tom found out, she lashed out. The broken clock was presented as symbolic evidence, the moment the truth stopped. But Martha's defense claimed something far stranger, that Tom staged the scene himself, intending to fake a fall and frame his wife, but miscalculated and died accidentally. They pointed to a handwritten note found in his workshop. She won't get away with it again, but it was never explained. The jury couldn't decide. After a deadlock, the case was declared a mistrial. Martha moved away. The case went cold. Nearly 8 years later, in 2022, the farmhouse was sold. During renovations, a carpenter found something wedged behind the wall, a hidden camera wrapped in plastic. When detectives recovered the memory card, it contained only one file, timestamp 2:47 a.m. on February 12, 2014. The footage showed Tom arguing violently with someone, not Martha. It was Daniel Royce. They fought near the stairs. Tom shoved him, Daniel hit back, and Tom lost his footing, falling backward down the steps. Daniel panicked, checked Tom's pulse, then jammed the clock mechanism with a paperclip to match the time of death before fleeing the house. It had been an accident, but he'd tried to cover it up. The camera battery had died moments later, freezing the clock's image forever at 2:47. When police tracked Daniel, they discovered he had been living under a new name in Colorado. He confessed after being shown the footage. In the end, the truth wasn't what anyone expected. It wasn't love or hate, it was panic. A single mistake in the heat of fear that spiraled into years of lies. The clock had stopped at the exact moment everything unraveled. It became both the silent witness and the voice of truth. But here's what haunts investigators most. Tom's autopsy showed a bruise on his neck, one that didn't match Daniel's account. Someone else might have been in the house. And at 2:49 a.m., 2 minutes after the clock stopped, the security camera outside recorded a single shadow moving past the window, one that didn't belong to either man. To this day, no one knows who that figure was. Some say it was Martha, returning home too late. Others believe Tom's private investigator came to destroy evidence. Whatever the truth, one thing remains certain. The clock stopped at the exact moment it all went wrong, but time hasn't healed what was left behind. So what do you think? Mantelpiece clock, was Tom Hale's death an accident or a murder cleverly disguised as one?